So can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Fern and I'm currently a senior at Bangkok Patana School, and I'll be going to university in the US in the fall this year, if Corona gets better.
Okay. Can you introduce us a bit about your old school, Bangkok Patana?
So our school is an IB school, so we did like IGCSEs in year 10, 11, and then everyone does IB in year 12 and 13. And it's quite like an activity-oriented school, so there's always like different clubs and stuff going on at the school, so it's not just purely academic-based.
I see. So how do you know aims?
I knew it from a friend a long time ago, who like recommended it. She was learning with crew anchor, I think, and she said like join aims, and then I started learning chemistry as well, and then math with Kuani.
Oh, okay. So you're learning chemistry and math, right?
I learned chemistry for a bit during IGCSE, but then mostly just math.
So which subjects have you learned for math?
For math with Kuani.
Okay, it's like embarrassing myself, right? Okay, so you will study IGCSE, IB, and SAT subject.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this is a bit weird. So any good experience or any good impression about the school?
Yeah. I feel like aims really supports the students, and like the teachers don't make it like too stressful, and like makes like learning fun as well. For example, with Crew Annie, like I'm not afraid to ask you questions, and no matter like how dumb I think the question might be, like always answer it, and then like it makes me understand it better.
Yeah. No, you're a very quick learner, like super quick learner. Okay, thanks for that. So which subjects do you need to prepare for the college application?
So I had SATs, like the general one, and also subject tests. So for the general one, I kind of just practiced more like by myself, because I feel like it just takes a lot of practice, like with the general English and math. But like for like the specific one, for example, math subject test, Kurani taught me that. And I also did the chemistry subject test, but that one I self-studied because it overlapped a lot with IB because I did high-level chemistry. So yeah, I didn't have to study too much for that one.
You got a very high SAT score, right? If I recall, it's like 1510. Do you have like the techniques or any special techniques when to prepare for the test in a short period of time? Because I know you only have like only a bit of time to prepare, but you got your score come out like very good. Do you have any
tips?
Yeah, any tips and tricks?
I think like when I first I feel like it's just getting used to like how to take the test. And at the beginning, like no matter how smart you are, if you don't know the format of the test and like how it gets marked and stuff like that, you can't do well. So like actually I bought this book called like the SAT Black Book, and it gives you like lots of tips regarding like what was the purpose of the test, and like firstly as well, like because they have for America you can choose between ACT and SAT,
right?
So I definitely recommend taking both and seeing which one suits you more. So for me, I feel like ACT, because ACT is different because it has like a science section as well, and for SAT it's just half math, half English, and for ACT it's more for like if you like think really quickly, and for SAT for the English questions it's more like deeper questions. So some of the reading comprehension questions you have to think a little bit more about like the hidden meaning kind of, but ACT is more straightforward, so it just depends what kind of learner you are.
So for English, you would say that SAT English would be harder than ACT.
It depends, because if you're not a quick reader, ACT would probably be very hard because you have to skim it really, really quickly. For SAT, like you have a bit more time to think about it, but then the questions are also more difficult.
So with more time but like harder question.
Yeah.
What about
I preferred that more.
so you prefer SAT
Yeah.
over ACT? What about bad part? What are the main difference?
For ACT, I think it's all calculator, but for SAT, there's one part which is non-calculator as well. So if you really don't like doing non-calc, then do
Go for
ACT.
ACT, right? Okay. So what are the universities that you have applied for?
So I applied to 11 universities.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. University of Toronto.
In Canada, right?
Yeah, university. That's the only one I applied to in Canada, and the other 10 were in America. So I had like 2 safeties kind of in America. So Santa Clara and Northeastern, and the rest were like reaches. So I applied to Northwestern, Columbia, Brown, Yale, Tufts, Duke, UCLA, UC Berkeley. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good school. UC Berkeley is a good school. So you apply for 11 university. Is there a different requirement between Canada's and American university? Do you have to take more tests for Canada for the Canada one?
Oh, I was really shocked when I was applying for Canada. Like all they looked at was your high school transcript. Like that's it.
That's it?
Like they basically just look at your predicted grade in IB. And you still have to like put your 10, 11 transcript, but they don't really put too much emphasis on that. So they're just looking at your predicted grade. Basically,
that's it?
Yeah, that's it. You don't have to write any essays. You don't have to write any activities.
Oh.
I was really shocked when I applied. Like you don't need SAT or anything. You just apply with your school grade. That's it. Yeah.
That's quite. How would they know if the GPA of like all schools shouldn't be? It should be different, right?
I think it's because like Canada is a lot less selective because the universities are really big and a lot less people apply. So the acceptance rate is around like 40% or something like that. So like Canada, I feel like it's easier to get in, but harder to graduate from because a lot of people drop out afterwards if they realize like they can't really cope with the work. But like they're more like kinder with letting people in. So the acceptance rate is higher. Yeah.
So which one did you choose? Brown.
Eventually, I'm still deciding between.
Oh, you're still deciding.
Actually, yeah, I'm still deciding
between Brown and which one?
Brown and Duke.
Oh, Brown and Duke.
Yeah. And I got in everywhere except I got waitlisted at Columbia and Northwestern. I was rejected at Yale, but for the rest of them, like when I was like deciding which one to go with, like I realized like for the wait lists, I would actually like Columbia. Like I know like in some rankings it might be ranked higher than, for example, like Brown or Duke, and it might be more well known in Thailand. But I realized like I wouldn't really fit the learning atmosphere anyway because they have like a core curriculum and like you're forced to take certain subjects, and I just feel like the vibe there is more like stressful and like competitive, and the fact that it's in New York, it has less of a community feel because like the campus is kind of small and like people just go out into the city. But whereas other universities like Duke and Brown, it's more community based, and I feel like I can get closer to my professors because like the professors at Columbia will be doing, because they're more like research based, so they're more about doing the research than teaching their students from what I've researched. So yeah, that was my reason.
That's interesting. So do you need to do the interviews in order to get in? Do they require the interview before?
For the US, they have alumni interviews, and for the interview process, it's not selective. Like they try to give interviews to everyone, and if you don't get one, it's not because your application wasn't good, but it's just because there weren't any like enough alumni around your region. So I got interviews for everywhere.
Oh, so not everyone got to do the interview. They just they just select some students.
Oh no, it's
Alright.
not selective. Everyone gets to do it.
Oh, but
Yeah.
it's not that like it's not that serious. What you
Yeah,
say?
it's not that important.
Uh-huh.
Like it's definitely different to UK. Like I think for UK, like obviously the interview, to get the interview, it's selective, and then the interview basically kind of decides.
Yeah. I heard in UK. I thought you have to fly there and like you have to do
Yeah.
like the camp for like few days.
Yeah.
You spend the days with other students.
Yeah, that's
So
what I
what?
heard. But like
Yeah.
for US, some of them were like Skype calls, and
Mhm.
it was just like talking to different alumni,
Uh-huh.
and like it's more like two-way. Like you kind of learn about the university as well,
Mhm.
and then they learn about. I think more of it is just to make sure like your application is like legitimate, and it's like making sure you didn't like lie about parts of the application, and also I think different universities may value it differently. Like for example, the UCs, they don't have interviews at all.
Yeah, back in
'Cause
my
they're-
time, we don't have interview, right?
For UCL and UC Berkeley, they don't, because there's way too many applications, like 100,000 people apply. So like,
Yeah.
there's no way they can interview everyone. But for smaller universities, I did. For example, like Brown is really casual. It was just in like a coffee shop, and I just talked to like an alumni.
Really?
Yeah, it was just in a coffee shop.
But you flew there to do the
Oh
interview.
no, it was in Bangkok. It was a Brown alumni. Yeah.
So they have like the Brown alumni in the building in Bangkok.
Yeah, like because he graduated, and then he's like they just contact people who are willing to interview people here. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's done by alumni, not by professors or the teachers.
No, not by admissions officers or professors. It's just by alumni. So that's why they can't put too much emphasis on it, because some people will think, like some alumni might be a lot like nicer in the process, and some might be more like rigorous with the questions. So there's no like standard, so they can't put too much emphasis on it because it's unfair for some people.
So you say the interview is just for like checking
I think
whether
they have to write like a bit of a review on you.
Mhm.
So like I don't think it's like a decision maker, but it's just there as additional information. I don't think you would ultimately get in because of an interview or get rejected because of an interview, but it's just like additional information. So obviously like still do your best and everything, and like do your research, and yeah. I mean every part of the application matters, so yeah.
So do you think which part of the application is the hardest? Like the test or the personal statement or
Essays, definitely.
the personal statement, right?
Yeah, because you have to like dig deep. Like you really have to think about it. Like, and also a lot of universities have supplemental essays because you have like a common application. So you write an essay that gets sent out to every university, but each university also has extra essays. Like it can range from like 3 to 6. Actually, no, 1 to 6. But so in the end, I had to write like 24 essays around.
Wow.
So it was a lot. Yeah.
So you end up writing 24?
Yeah, I mean, some of them were just like 150 words. So it ranged like with the word count. But yeah, it was a lot.
Can you tell us a bit about your personal statement?
Yeah, so my common application essay was about it was like about rock climbing and science. So it's kind of like the way I think, like in terms of like creative thinking and stuff like that. So the theme was like finding function in the unexpected. So at first I started off because I've been like rock climbing for a while now, so I kind of wanted to incorporate that in my application and actually link it to my academics to show that it's not just like a random hobby or anything. But I talked about how like my like method of climbing and like solving a problem on a route maybe like unorthodox. So then I suddenly linked that to my way of solving problems in chemistry. And so I talked about how I used papaya seeds to like absorb copper ions from water. It was like one of my chemistry projects. So I linked to how like I found like function in the unexpected on the wall through different like cracks in the wall, and I linked that to finding function in the unexpected. For example, leftover papaya seeds from my grandpa, and how I used that to help with water pollution. Yeah.
It sounds like you're gonna major in chemistry. No.
It's for some universities I applied for like biochemistry,
Uh-huh.
but for other ones I applied for like public health as well. Like it depends on the university, but I think I'm still gonna explore, and now I've been like interested in engineering.
Oh.
So I'm gonna see, like, because like with the US they're so much more open and like you can change majors quite easily. So that's one big reason I chose US over UK, because I'm still quite indecisive, and I can't imagine like having to be restricted in a major and sticking with it, because I know I'd want to change. Yeah.
Oh, so you were doing the undeclared major. So you entered the university as undeclared, right?
You enter with for me, I didn't apply undeclared. I put down my interest, for example, like biochemistry. But once you're in, you can literally switch to any major you want. Yeah.
Okay.
You could stick with your major, but yeah, you can change.
So do you consider yourself as a smart person or quick learner?
I guess I consider myself like more well-rounded rather than like a genius at a particular subject or anything like that, because I'm not. I'm more interested in like a variety of subjects. So I'm not necessarily like a specialist in chemistry or math or biology or anything. I'm more just all right at all of those, I guess. But, like, one thing that is like special, I guess, is that I can form links, like unique links between the subjects. So I really use that in my application.
But so far from my experience, you are a very, very smart student. I would rank you as a top 5, the smartest top 5 student I have ever had. Yeah, like seriously. Like seriously. Yeah. So when the test score does not come out as you expected, how do you cope with it, or like what do you tell yourself to make you feel better, or to like encourage yourself?
I guess like you remind yourself that like the process is like holistic, and like, you know, like everyone makes mistakes and there's no one perfect application. Like even the people who get into like top schools, like, you know, like Stanford, like Harvard, like top tier, like they don't have necessarily have a perfect transcript either. Like I know some people who got into these amazing universities and still like you know, might have had some mess ups as well, and like their scores weren't perfect, but it doesn't have to be, and like they understand that you're human as well, and you can like make up for that in another area of your application, like your essays or something. Yeah.
So in order to got into Duke of Brown, what are the scores that you have for SAT subject, for SAT, for your GPA?
So my subject test for chemistry I got 750, and for math I got 790.
Okay.
And then for my SAT normal 1510, and for we don't have a GPA at my school. But my
you go by IB, right?
My IB predicted was 45. So
wow, that's pretty high. So do you have any recommendation or any advices for those who are still on the process of preparing the college application, or who are still studying right now?
I guess like in choosing your colleges, make sure that you're not just going by the name of the school. Like don't just be like, oh, I want to apply, for example, at Columbia because like it sounds like a good name and like a lot of Thai people know it. Like actually think about the fit, because you're gonna have to be there and deal with it for 4 years as well. So I guess it's nice to like the name, but also like their learning philosophy and everything like that. And even like your safety schools, make sure like every single school on your list is something that you would genuinely go to. For example, like you might not get into one of your reach schools and end up going to your safety. So make sure you don't hate your safety school either, and make sure you like every single one of them, because there's no point spending so much effort and then realizing you don't want to go anyway. But yeah.
So besides the techniques that you give us for study for the test, what are your method of study when you are in the actual classroom at school? How do you study? How do you study at school?
It depends on like the subject,
Mhm.
and it also depends on like the teacher's methods at
Mhm.
school. For example, some teachers, they just kind of like go through concepts quickly. So like with that, I feel like it, for example, like in biology, like it might be better to like write notes before the lesson
Mhm.
to make sure that you know what's going on. But some lessons it's not necessary to like self-study before because the teacher would like you waste a lot of time because the teacher would explain it so much more concisely. Like for example in chemistry,
Mhm.
I just spend most of my effort in class and learn everything in class because I know that my teacher can help me the most anyway. But for some subjects, you might know that you have to spend a little more time by yourself and, you know, use resources online and things like that. But yeah. One thing for me is like I don't really like studying by myself. I feel like when I'm studying with other people, like for example, I like to go out to like this library in Portland and study with my friends because like when I see everyone else studying, I'm like, oh, I gotta focus too. But sometimes when you're by yourself at home, like there's a lot of distractions. So for me, I prefer to be outside studying with my friends. I find it more motivating. So it just depends on the person.
So when would you recommend like to start all the application, preparing all this application? Which grade would be uh which grade would be the best for you to like start preparing all this stuff?
Um, I guess like in terms of activities, like a lot of the stuff that I put in my application, I've been doing since I was in like, I don't know, like year 5. But that's obviously when I was doing that, I wasn't doing that because I was like, oh, I need to do this for university. Like I was in year 5. So I just did stuff that I genuinely enjoyed. For example, I started playing flute in year 5 and also like rock climbing and all that stuff. And I like liked writing since year 5. So then I kind of just continued and then I used that like in a beneficial way for my application. So I think like one important thing is just make sure to do activities that you genuinely enjoy because then you would actually like get something like beneficial out of that for yourself. And in the end, like the outcome would be that you'll be successful in it anyway because like you enjoy it. And in terms of like testing and stuff like that, I definitely say start early. So some people started tutoring in like at the end of year 11 and I think well I didn't do that but I think that's pretty smart.
Are you sure? Are you sure you didn't do that? As I recall, you just study for like 2 weeks before the exams.
Yeah, I did that. I did my SATs in year 12. My general SAT and I did my subject test in year 13, which is not good.
Yeah.
I should have definitely try to get your standardized testing done in year 12. So then year 13 is when you actually have to focus on your essays and stuff like that, the application. And yeah, get testing done in year 12 because year 13 term was very stressful for me because I had to manage my subject tests and like IB and essays and teacher recommendations as well. That's a really important one. Like make sure you have a good relationship with your teacher. Yeah.
Okay. I guess your case is pretty like it's exceptional case, right?
For
like all the application in a short period of time.
Yeah.
So if you suggest just start early as possible.
But then don't start too early in terms of like for example like because you like your decisions change a lot in year 12 you kind of learn more about yourself so some people they might have started preparing for subject test math and physics so they thought they wanted to be an engineer but then realized later on that like they want to be a doctor so like if you spend too much effort early on and keep your options closed like then it all comes crashing down later if you realize that you know you made the decisions too early and then you have to suddenly cram at the end. So
Okay. I guess that's it for the questions. So yeah, thank you for the interview, and I wish you luck in the universities.